In this video, we're going to go through Megan's bedtime ritual. So right now, what you've gone through is the first process in which you've planned out your own ritual. This won't be the first time that you touch that and make changes to it.
Yeah.
So this video is really about optimization and giving you a bit of perspective, but also some tools in your belt to be able to correct along the way and teach you how to think when it comes to this stuff not working. Because even the best laid out plans will at some point either become obsolete and not work anymore, or they'll have holes in them that you need to fill.
Yeah. 100%, because this wasn't what I started out with.
No.
I had to do a lot of chopping and changing, and sometimes things worked for me and then they stopped working. So then I had to start something else and find out what works for me. And this bedtime ritual may not work for you either, but this is just what has really set the tone for me, and that if I go away from it or we go on holidays, or I'm being a bit naughty and binge watching TV or a series or whatever, and we've noticed that I'm tired, not recovering, all that kind of thing, we go back to the drawing board. So this is my drawing board and I know when I've been naughty and that I need to get back on the good train.
Yep, exactly. And 80% of the time, this is what we'll do.
I follow, and then especially when you go away from it and then you come back to it, you're like, oh, why did I ever steer away from it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you go.
Oh yeah, so even with us both, I was going to just say, when you have the good intention to implement something new like a ritual, you will go through a phase of touching the stove and being burnt by that stove, but then your burn will heal, okay? And then you'll need to touch the stove again to be reminded of how hot that stove is and that you actually get burnt. So the way this relates is you will get onto a good routine, you'll feel good, so then you'll start to get a little bit naughty.
Dangerous.
And you'll be dangerous, and then you go away from it. You'll get burnt again. It's important that you go through that cycle to learn, because that creates awareness.
You just won't get burnt as bad, you develop like an immunity.
Or you develop standards.
Yeah.
Your standards, they rise.
Yeah.
Your standards of living, they rise. So your standards of sleep rise along with it. And you know what feels good. If you don't know what feels good, you don't ever know where to go. So this is an important part of the process of transformation, is going through the pain cycle and coming out the other end and doing it again. So
love it.
Yeah, let's move on to what to do in certain circumstances. So we'll take it back to when we first started implementing and figuring this stuff out for ourselves, because we didn't have a roadmap like you do. We didn't have a structure to follow.
Yeah. So this was all trial and error, and also what would work for our little family. And just like your children, how often do we get told you need to get them into a routine? They need to have repeat. They need to know what's coming, what's to be expected. We're just tiny human beings that have grown into big human beings. Our soul and our body still needs those rituals, those routines, and we need to know what's coming, because then our body can prepare for it. So when we first started this, it was important that the kids had their routine. So bath time was at the same time, dinner time is at the same time, and bedtime's at the same time. So one girl would get her books and her songs, the other girl would get her books and her songs, and then they would go off into sleep on time. And then we would start to wind down. So what we haven't changed in the routine is always our time of eating a metabolically precise meal in front of the telly, that we would spend time together. Yeah, debriefing in the shower. If we want to get real personal, we debrief in the shower. We eat a nice meal before we go off to bed. Watch a bit of telly. And then I started I had to coach myself to sleep again, didn't I? Because my head would hit the pillow. He would start snoring within like that. And I know mamas, you can relate, because I speak to many mamas, and these men are the same. They just go, I don't need to think about anything anymore. Whereas we hit the pillow and we're like, oh my God, did I treat her, was I too hard on her today? Or, I should have done this and I didn't check in on this, and, I've got to do this tomorrow, and all that kind of thing. So that's what goes around in our head. So I couldn't sleep anymore. And so then I had to get some meditation, and it wasn't just like some music. I had to get some voices telling me, concentrating on things, and concentrating on breathing and different body parts and all that kind of jazz, right?
YouTube's guided meditation.
Yeah, I YouTube guided meditation, and I just chose something that resonated with me, and it would take a couple of things. Sometimes I go, nah, don't like her voice. Oh, yep, quite like that voice. I'm going to stick with that.
I was so skeptical in the start and listening to this guy talking to us in our sleep, but I actually started to get accustomed to it. And,
and you just fell asleep
anyway. I found
anyway.
that I was falling asleep even better than ever.
Yeah, so whatever.
Anyway.
So you didn't have any trouble. I was the one with the trouble. This was what was really cool, that I would wake up at some stage and go, oh, I actually fell asleep. I fell asleep to that, and the guided meditation was over. So then I got addicted to that. Okay, cool. Got to have my guided meditation. Got to follow everything to the letter. It's just like with a baby. When a baby sleeps through 5 hours, you're like, okay, what did I do at that time? How did I wrap the blankets? How did I have the room temperature? Let's repeat all of that so the baby sleeps again. It was the same as with me.
Yep.
So that started to work for a little while, and then I started to get the shits with the voice. And I was like, oh, I can't listen to you anymore. Like, I've had enough. And I start thinking again in my head. So then I switched to, beautiful sounds like the ocean. I love the ocean. I love the beach.
White noise.
Yeah, can't stand the white noise. But I love the meditation.
Well, they actually call all of it white noise.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, so even the waves and that kind
I can't
of stuff,
stand that
showers.
Stuff.
That sounds like a TV that's got no aerial signal.
It's freaky, right? And so I would do the beach noises, that would send me off, or rain and storms and all that kind of thing. And then I actually started to get the shits with the noise and think, oh, I just need silence, and I just need pure blackness. And then I picked up a book, and you have to pick up a book that you are really interested in, and that is going to get you inspired or get you wanting to read it. Storytelling, get you hooked. Like it has
one of those TV shows that you hooked to.
Yeah, exactly. It has to be like that. Like you're reading a series, or you're reading. Yeah, you binge. That's what I'd end up doing. And now binge reading, I just absolutely love it. And you wouldn't think of me as a reader, because I wasn't really one of those readers as I was growing up, and I had to practice. So even if it was like a few pages, and then I would stop, feel drowsy, and go off to sleep. And slowly over time, I fell in love with reading. So that's sort of the story of where I started.
Yeah, so with your reading, there were nights where you were just too tired to even pick up a book. So you didn't, and then you kind of...
Or I couldn't be bothered or made excuses.
And then you went through the cycle of being burnt again to get back on track. And I think it's been the last 18 months that you've read every single night without a break or close.
No. Sometimes we would be naughty, and we would in holidays, especially over the Christmas holidays, we'd stay up late, and we weren't on our usual rituals. We weren't on our usual routines. Then we would just go to sleep straight away. But I've learnt, and even when we go away on holidays, if I haven't got a book with me, it is a lot harder for me to drift off to sleep. It takes me a while to fall asleep. So you learn that.
Yeah.
And
you prepare for it. But some people don't always click with the book thing. So we've got clients, I suppose, that you've got clients that you've personally worked with who've done other things.
So some really enjoy the meditation, and some really enjoy the actual, like a bit of a yoga spill before they go into bed, like a bit of a yoga sequence.
Drawing.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So one of my mum clients loves to colour in. So the what is it called? Not directed drawing, but it's like, mindful colouring.
They call it something.
Yeah, it's mindfulness colouring. No, you would totally heard of this before. So she colours in before she goes to bed, and that's her downtime. I just love that, because she figured out her own way, like maybe reading's not for her. She is a school teacher, so she would probably want to get away from reading and studying and all that kind of jizz. So, you need to find something that really speaks to your soul.
So the main thing here is just to understand that when you create your bedtime ritual, it needs to be something that's for you. A lot of people will see what Megan does and want to copy her. And
Well, you can try.
When you do that, it's not. It doesn't align with who you are, right? So it's good as a framework. It's good to start off with to kind of see what it all looks like in practice and feel it, right? But eventually, what you'll need to do is you'll need to innovate. So you'll need to find a way to find an activity that helps you disconnect, get out of your head. It's meditation, right? But it's not
In
sitting
all
there
forms, in different forms.
yeah, it's in different forms. It's not sitting there and going If that's what you like, then that's great. But this whole the whole point of what we're doing here is we're putting a buffer between you being stimulated and you going off to bed. Whether that buffer is 15 minutes or half an hour. I know if we're watching something on telly that's a little bit too violent, she's not going to sleep.
No, I don't like it. It doesn't put me in a good frame of mind. So that's why that buffer is amazing. Like after we shower and get ready for bed, it's that wind down time where I then get out of my head and I get into something else that really appeals to me and somebody else's story, you know. That is inspiring, and the same as that coloring, that is mindfulness because she has been so consumed all day by other people's kids and by other teachers, and then when she comes home she's got her own kids and her hubby to deal with and stuff. Then if she sits there, that's just her, and that's all about her, and I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So with the framework that Pete's saying is that we're giving you some structure here. So not necessarily following it 100%, but you could go right 8 p.m. Well, that is not when my kids go to bed. They go at a different time. So let's swap that around and,
see what works for you and what works for your family.
Yes.
And we'll further optimize this in our coaching sessions. That's what they're there for. Make sure you utilize the Q&A roundtables and the optimization sessions so that you can actually get a clear answer from me or from Megan, whoever's running the Q&A roundtable, because we're going to be able to give you an outside world perspective, outside of your world perspective, that gives you another way to view the problem that you're currently experiencing, and that's the key. That's the key to the whole success of this program.
Yeah,
is
to be able to bounce off each other. And
soundboard things and see the forest from the trees. Because right now you're in the trenches.
Yeah.
You see your problems as this big.
Yeah.
Where we can come over the top and we say, hey, have you decided to work around it here or work around it there? So hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you for the next video.